You're good.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to our live stream. Today, our topic is the B.E.E.R group, and we've got a lot to talk about. It's truly one of the great groups here in the Salukis world. We're coming from you on the Foundation, SIU Foundation page, and this live stream is a very cool thing. Just a bit of a history here. Last year, as we get ready for the big day of giving this year, the sixth annual, when we were really shut down in COVID with COVID protocols and not getting out a lot, most universities shut down their day of giving. But Brittany Bateman here, our very talented member of our marketing team, came up with the idea of let's do this on live stream. And we were the only university in America to have a day of giving on live stream. Only university, RSIU, pretty cool stuff. And the key, a big highlight of that was the day or two before, we did our first ever live stream focusing on the B.E.E.R group. And we're going to talk a lot about what that means. And we had Dan with us, Dan Gideman, and we had a great live stream last year. And I guess on demand, we're back here for the second annual B.E.E.R live stream. This year, Dan, we're joined by two of our great students here who are the recipients of the B.E.E.R scholarship. So we have a lot to talk about. Dan's going to give us the history of B.E.E.R. We're going to talk about the B.E.E.R scholarship. We're going to hear from Amber and Luke about what that means to them, their experiences here in Carbondale. Both are seniors. Might have a little senioritis, but we're going to ask about that too. But we think we're going to have a great broadcast. And let's go. Hey, Dan, let's start. Let's go around the live stream and let's introduce ourselves, Dan.
Okay, so I'm Dan Gideman. I graduated from SIU in 1992 in economics and history, and then I stayed and got a master's in economics that I finished in 1994. And I still use economics today. I'm actually an economics professor up in Michigan at Grand Valley State University, and I'm sitting in one of the college offices right now giving this interview.
Thank you, Dan. Amber?
Hi, so my name is Amber Toussaint. I'm a senior majoring in mechanical engineering, and this will be my last semester.
Wow. Amber, a lot more to talk about that, right? During this live stream. But so thrilled you're with us. And Luke?
So my name is Luke Caron. I'm from the Chicagoland suburbs. I'm 26, senior here at the forestry program, transfer student. So I came from a welding background and got my associates in that. And then I came after a 3-year break. I came down to SIU to continue my bachelor's in science. So senior, yeah.
Good stuff there, Luke. Again, you'll see on the bottom of the screen, the flashing across. Again, next week represents our 6th annual Day of Giving, a very important day at the university. We're asking all alumni and friends to join in, support the institution, making a gift. March 2nd, starting at 6 a.m. and ending at 6 o'clock. You can go to siuday.siu.edu /B.E.E.R if you want to give to the B.E.E.R scholarship. So Dan, let's start with the history of this incredible group. Tell us about it.
Yep. So I guess it was a little bit more than 3 years ago. Craig Wilson, who lives in Carbondale today and has been really active in the music scene in Carbondale for quite some time. A couple years ago, he decided that he wanted to do research and write a book on sort of the music scene in the 80s and 90s. And to help him collect information, he started the group. And I think he expected that maybe there'd be 50 or 100 people that might join the group, maybe give a little bit of advice. And then it just exploded. I think absolutely well beyond what he thought and really well beyond the scope of what he intended the group to be. As a matter of fact, I think early on, once it started to move into more of the history and people coming in and moving away, I think he was a little bit concerned that maybe you should shut the group down. But then he decided, no, I want to keep this there because a lot of this stuff is happening. And so we ended up having, I think now there's like 15,000 people in the group, and it's just growing and people are just interested. They're plugged in. A lot of people who had maybe not touched base with SIU since they had left or only had minimal contact, now feel like they're invested again in SIU. So that's kind of the background of the group, and it's just it's a fun group, and it's one of the places where Craig and his moderators have been very good. That there's a lot of interesting in a bad way that happens on social media, and none of that's present. They've been really good about keeping everything positive and just good, and what you would hope that it's basically probably the best kind of Facebook group you could possibly have, and that's because of Craig's leadership on that.
Just, Dan, I've been around higher education a long time, at other institutions here now at Carbondale for 3 years, and I've never seen anything like what you guys have done. Just, it seemed like overnight you had 20,000 members. You mentioned, Joe, up to 50,000. So is there constant interactions and constant communications, and it's always going on, isn't it?
Yeah, there's, I don't know, Brittany's a moderator in that page too. There's probably a dozen posts on that page, at least a dozen posts every day about various things. People, showing how they're representing SIU all around the world. Like, Dawgs representing here and here, and talking about, I'm visiting my son or daughter. They're going to go down for a visitation, and so what should we see? What do we need to do? And a lot of it is just really kind of a promotion of SIU, and it's nice.
And, Luke and Amber, we have 266,000 alumni that you'll be joining the ranks of, come this end of the spring. And there are only 50 universities in America that have more alumni. So, we talk about Salukis are everywhere. And no matter where you go, you run into a Saluki. And Dan, I think your group epitomizes that, and keeping this spirit alive and that Saluki pride. I bet you've been everywhere, and wherever you go, you run into a Saluki.
Yeah, it's fun too, and I think people now have started to wear more SIU apparel and things like that just when they go out, and it's kind of like that revitalized sort of sense of pride. And as Amber and Luke and to any other students might be watching it, there are so many people out there who would like to help you. They want to give back, and one of the ways we can give back is the scholarship. But one of the things that keeps coming up in that group is how can we tie in with current students and maybe future students and help them network? Because you can leverage us. And you should leverage us. And so that's one of the things we're going to think a little bit more too about, is how can we better connect in and help provide opportunities to you guys.
That is and Brittany, I believe if you're out there watching, and we know there are a lot of you watching, you can do a little shout out, can't you, on the screen here, Brittany?
Yes. So I have a couple. I didn't want to interrupt anybody yet, but we have Casey saying congratulations to the scholarship recipients. One of the people on our team on the SIU Foundation Facebook page says, keep on representing SIU. And this is a question for Dan, actually. This is Blaine Benzel. If you're watching in the B.E.E.R group, make sure you give StreamYard permission to see your name and picture. Otherwise, I'm trying to keep track. He asked, I have a question for Dan. Are we going to have a happy hour Zoom session on March 2nd for the B.E.E.R group?
Yeah, that's actually something we did last year. We actually, I hosted a Zoom session, and there were maybe a dozen, maybe a little bit more than a dozen of us came in as the B.E.E.R scholarship money came in, and we kind of watched it keep building, and we would give a toast when certain milestones were reached. Actually, Blaine's kind of interesting. His daughter was in my class 2 years ago, and I saw her name, and it's kind of an unusual name. And so then I'm friends with Blaine on Facebook, and I kind of looked up, I'm like, that's his daughter. So I went into class one day and I said, tell your dad that I say, go Dawgs. And she gave me a look like, what? And I'm like, SIU. And she's like, oh, so that was just kind of funny. So it is, he's up here in Michigan. His daughter's going to school where I'm teaching. So yeah, Blaine, we'll have another Zoom event on the day of giving for sure.
Wonderful. Okay.
Did she have a chance to rate your professor?
The problem with that is that's right when COVID happened. So we made it about halfway through the semester, and then we went online. And so she lucked out that she didn't have to deal with me in person for the last 2 months of the semester. So
very cool. Very cool.
Awesome.
Brittany?
Jennifer Wilkins says, love being able to donate to the B.E.E.R scholarship again this year. Thank you, Jennifer. We appreciate that. Casey was referring back when you were talking about Craig's project. Carbondale's music scene is amazing. We absolutely agree with that. Jeff Wilson says, can't wait to support B.E.E.R on the SIU Day of Giving. Go Dawgs. Laura Sosi says, yeah, for the Zoom session. It was a blast. And then we have here, Carrie Kinder says, I'm hoping some people donate to Williamson County Scholarship as well. Michelle Vale says, I only went to SIU for my freshman year, but it was an awesome year. So I've donated a couple times to the B.E.E.R Scholarship and haven't even donated to school since I got my degree, partly because of this Facebook group and reconnecting with old friends. And so I know we're getting a lot of other comments in, so I'm going to try to keep track, but I'll let you guys keep that conversation going, and I'll bring another Q&A in a minute.
Hey,
okay?
Dan, Amber, and Luke, isn't it fun to have these comments come through here? It is very cool. So let's talk about that scholarship. You know, you created this group, the energy and the passion, and committing, staying together, connected to the university. And then let's talk about, where did the idea of the scholarship come up?
It was sort of strange. It actually was, we had like a snow day at my university. I don't know, I was sitting at home and I was on the Facebook group and I was thinking about, my teaching. And then I just started thinking about students. And I know today, I mean, college is a lot more expensive than it was when we were in school. And so I thought, we've got a lot of people. I think at the time there were maybe 3,000 people in the group. And I thought, we've got enough people here that maybe we could, maybe we could start a scholarship. And so I posted, what do you think about that? And I think I ended it with like, just a thought. And then people kind of jumped on with that idea. And then a couple of people in the group said, here's maybe who should contact with the foundation. And so I reached out to them and they were like, well, what are you looking for? And I don't think they really knew about the Facebook group yet. And I said, well, we're thinking about, setting up a scholarship. Maybe we could get it endowed. She said, well, you can just donate money directly to the foundation. And I'm like, well, no, I think this group wants to do something on its own. And she's like, well, maybe. And then later on, they realized I'm like, there's like 3,000 people in this group. And then by then I'm like, well, actually now we're up to 5,000, and she's like, okay, let's work with this. And then it turned out to just be in conjunction with the Day of Giving. But it was interesting too, that we got the idea, okay, let's get a scholarship going, but then we had to come up with a name for it. And, so I kind of said, okay, what are we going to call it? And there were all sorts of interesting names that were proposed. Some were academic, some were very much not academic. And so we went with kind of a combination. It was Jim Raffensperger who came up with the idea, the B.E.E.R scholarship, where B.E.E.R stood for balancing, education, experience, and reality. Because really that's what the group had kind of talked a lot about. When in that group, we talked about maybe who our favorite professors were in certain classes and how we had to go, what we used to call the Woody Shuffle for registration. We also talked about, the bars. We talked about going to Giant City and the Spillway and all the activities. And so we said our college experience, yeah, it was the education, but there were so many other things we did and the friendships we made. And so he went with that. And that pretty much overwhelmingly got through it. And when I sent it in, because they said, you need a name for the scholarship, the foundation did. And I didn't spell it out. I didn't abbreviate it. I sent it in and then it kind of got passed and they, okay, that's fine. I don't think they were paying too much attention to it. And then it came back and they're like, maybe a week later, like, yeah, we just kind of realized what that abbreviates to.
Yeah.
We're not going to tell anybody. It might not get approved, but we're not going to tell anybody yet.
Yeah.
And then we were a little bit kind of, that first year, our goal was just to get it endowed. So we needed 25,000 to get it endowed, and we were making donations along the way. And it was a little bit slow at first. And then one person said, well, you're not getting any donations because people don't like that name. It's a stupid name. So then I went back with a poll, should we change the name? And I think it was once one person said that they thought the name was bad, that suddenly everybody protested like, no, we love this name. They took ownership of it. And that's when that first Day of Giving, we watched it and the money started coming in and we had it got endowed like in the late afternoon. And then it was interesting. The money, like for the law school and the medical school, all their donations came in like during normal business hours. But with our group, it was basically after business hours is when the money started coming in. I think people started popping open certain beverages and they would toast it, when money came in. And so we ended up having, more than $40,000 donated. And then, the next year we got a lot more than that. Last year, we didn't know what was going to happen because of COVID, but we actually had the most money donated last year. There's been other fundraisers people have done. So it's been something that we've been really just excited about. And I think that's one of the questions that I want to ask Amber and Luke. What do you think about the name of it? I mean, is that, I guess that's one question. What do you think about the name? And then I'll ask another question later on. Was that something that you're like, I want to win this, or I want a scholarship, but I don't know about that name. So,
I like the
Amber, you want to
name
go?
actually. I like the name actually. So my uncle actually went to SIU during the late 80s, early 90s, and I remember he would tell me all of his stories. Coming from Chicago, and living on East Campus, and the culture shock, and them being from Chicago playing house music, and some of the other kids being from rural parts of Illinois, and just kind of meeting new people and having new experiences. So I felt like, these are probably a group of people I can resonate with because they remind me of my uncle, of my family. So I thought, why not? Because they're probably really down to earth people who just want to give back. So why not?
Very cool.
Yeah, I thought the name was pretty good. That was like one of the things that like attracted me to it because it's like I looked at it and I'm like, what is this, And then you start like reading the description and then you're like, okay. And then I typed out the paper and then I was like, oh, all right. And then got the email. It's like, oh. And then I started looking more into it and I was like, oh wow, this is like a huge group. I thought it was just like a small little thing.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I was like blown away, because it's like you hear, like Amber was just saying, it's like our uncle came down here in the 80s and 90s, and it's just like my uncle was here in the 80s, and it's always fun to talk to him about like, like, oh, where'd you go? He's like, oh, Giant City, Crab Orchard, all these areas, and I was like, wait a second, I go there. So it's like, we're all making the same memories in the same place, and it's just like, yeah, it's like we're in a different time period, but it's still the same land, it's still the same soil, it's all the same stuff, so
it's you think about it, Brittany and Dan, did we have a scholarship recipient last year?
One we did, but they weren't able to attend.
Okay.
And so this year it's actually nice. Luke and Amber are representing 6 total scholarship winners that we had this year. So, but last year we had a couple, but they weren't able to attend. So yep.
Six scholarship winners. Wow. And Amber and Luke, think about it. As Dan said, this is a scholarships that will live in perpetuity. So generations and generations of Salukis students are going to be the recipient of this scholarship. And you two were right at the beginning of it. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
You're always going to be almost the first to receive this scholarship. And it is very, very cool. So along those lines, I see we got Jeff Wilson wrote something in, Brittany.
Yes. Jeff asked, Amber and Luke, how does it feel to know that your education has been supported by more than 1,500 alumni?
Luke, you can go first.
Okay. It feels pretty good, it's like, man, you're going through college and it's just like you're walking into the bursar's office with a check every month and you're like, oh my gosh, come on, really? And then it's just like, like they've gone before us and, they're kind of like helping us out. And it's like, it just takes a little bit of stress off me, because I'm trying to get through college debt free. Like I'm paying everything in cash out of my own pocket. And it's very, very, I've had to make a lot of sacrifices, working long hours in the summer, still trying to contract out work down here. And, it's like, it's just, everything, so it's good to know that at least people are like, hey, we're here to help you out,
Yeah.
So. Great.
Yeah. I agree with what Luke said. I didn't mention I'm also a non-traditional student. So I graduated from community college with my associates straight out of high school and transferred here in 2019. And so when I came down here, I came in off of a transfer scholarship that was 2 years. Now, this is my 3rd year at SIU, so my transfer scholarship cuts off at that 2-year mark. But, with engineering, with some of those people who are engineers, a 4 engineering degree, some may take 5 years. And, if you don't really get those core classes in, it can take longer. So with this being my 3rd year and the end of that transfer scholarship, the B.E.E.R scholarship stepped in for helping me pay for my courses this year and helping me graduate debt free come this May. So if it wasn't for this scholarship, I probably would have had to take out a loan or something. So I'm really grateful that more than 1,500 alumni were part of that. And it just makes me want to be a part of that once I'm making those engineering checks.
Can I? Yeah, I just real quick. Like, I was a transfer student when I came to SIU too, and it's kind of interesting that it's still part of you, even and that'll last. And I think one thing you kind of both talked about your uncles and stuff like that. I mean, you could imagine all those people as being friends with your uncles or friends. People might be listening, or students. Your parents and stuff like that. That we're all just feel like, okay, that's my uncle's friend. I'm going to reach out for advice. I'm going to reach out to connect and ask for career advice. And real quickly, Amber, in terms of like the 5-year plan, there are many, many, many people in that group who are on the 5-year plan, the 6-year plan, and beyond. So we're kind of laughing at 5 years. I'm sure a lot of people are like, yes, perfect. So
awesome. Matt, I have a few more comments. Do you want me to bring them up now? Sarah Novak says, Dan is the man. So proud of what the B.E.E.R group has accomplished. I'm from Chicago, so give like we vote here next week.
Come on, wait a second. Luke and Amber, we want Sarah to show us some love here too. Dan is the man.
And then we have, I think this is Carrie Kinder. I've been trying to keep track. Says, I love B.E.E.R. You're doing a great work. Tim Trottier says, I remember how fast the scholarship idea took off. It was great. Yeah. And then I think Carrie also said, That's what B.E.E.R stands for, LOL. Jennifer Wilkins says, love the name. Someone else, sorry, I don't know which one this is. It says it's the good old days. Casey says, who doesn't love B.E.E.R with some laughing, crying emojis. Someone else said it's B.E.E.R, a country song. We also have another comment saying legacy scholars are needed. We would love to have more alumni at SIU and taking advantage of that legacy scholarship. Someone else says it's $11,000 to live in the dorms. And so definitely anytime you can give back helps our students be able to afford to be here. Michelle Vale says, our hope is a few years down the road when these folks are out in the real world, they will also donate and provide some future student their own scholarship. And that is true.
I see Amber and Luke both shaking their head yes on that.
Yes. So we got some more. Please support Day of Giving. The B.E.E.R. Oh, this is Patrick Hart. The B.E.E.R scholarship sounds mighty suspicious to me. Count me in. And then Jennifer says, debt-free after college is huge. Good for you guys. I had student loans for a decade, and tuition was much less in 88 and 92 through 92. So thank you to everyone who's been commenting. If you have any other questions, we will get to a Q&A section. So please bring those questions in.
Thanks, Brittany. Hear Luke and Amber talk about what this scholarship meant to each one of you. Again, Dan, we're having a great time with the B.E.E.R group. And all the things and the stories that are being told and memories and relationships are being strengthened. But God, what impact that is. Amber and Luke, thank you for sharing that. I want to show you a trophy. This is the trophy for the Day of Giving, most individual gifts from a non-academic unit. And the B.E.E.R group has won it 3 consecutive years. And we've only had it 3 years. That is what you call a dynasty. So Dan, what are the plans going forward? In terms of the scholarship to keep this great momentum going. What are the thoughts on that?
Well, it's funny you brought up the trophy, because I think that was one of the things too that I found out probably around 2:30 or 3 in the afternoon that first day of giving that we were participating in, that they're actually thinking about a scholarship or a trophy for you guys. Yeah. And I post that in the group, like, we might get a trophy, and people are like, what? And then it's kind of, because we weren't sure still how SIU was the administration was going to respond to us. And so that really was kind of inspiring. So we definitely want to continue receiving the trophy for the most individual donors. Last year we had kind of the specific goal of let's get to a 6-pack. That was our idea. We want to have a 6-pack of scholarships. In the group this year, I think there was kind of a movement that maybe we should try for the donations to try to increase the individual amount. So maybe keep the 6-pack there. Although some people said, let's go for a Coors party ball, which Amber and Luke would have no idea what that is, but otherwise we say, well, maybe keep it at 6, but start to really raise the amount up. So that's one of the goals. Another goal that, as I kind of mentioned before, is just to kind of make awareness on the campus among students. There is this group of alumni who are out there who are willing to help. And that's one of the reasons I kind of want to find out from Amber and Luke, how did you hear about the scholarship? How can we promote it more so that other people know, Luke, that this is like, it's not just a couple of people. There's this big group out there, that would love to help you, would love to help not just you guys, but love to help other students, career advice, mentoring, maybe even employment opportunities or internship opportunities. So I think that's another focus of the group. We have this financial tie, which I think will continue certainly supporting, but also even more broad support. So I think those are the main goals we have this year.
Thank you, Dan. Let's talk about it. And Dan, I tell you, don't forget a keg. You can work a keg in there as well.
Right.
You can fit a lot of scholarships in a keg.
Well, they were saying maybe we should do like a 6-pack of tall boys or 40 ounces or something to increase that amount a little bit more. So
Luke and Amber, to Dan's great point, and the university is going to announce a strategic plan, Imagine SIU, in 2030. And it's really aspirational, and a lot of it in there does talk about mentoring. And, building on and enhancing the experience of students while you're here, preparing you to leave and go on and lead a productive and meaningful life, get a good job. What are your thoughts to Dan when Dan talks about the group looking and thinking about maybe diving a little more into mentoring type of things? What do you think about that?
I think that if the scholarship wants to really meet its goal of making sure that they have more students who see these funds are available and see that they have a network of alumni accessible to them, then it really needs to take place with not just depending on admin, but cultivating relationships with student-led RSOs on campus. For example, I'm the president of the National Society of Black Engineers on campus, and NSBE's work on campus is specific to making sure that not just Black engineers have jobs, but just minorities and engineers, period, and all engineers who are a part of that organization have gainful employment after graduation, know how to cultivate resumes, know how to have a LinkedIn profile, know how to have a 30-second elevator pitch, things like that. If I can just give my org a quick promo, if anyone is still interested in giving towards worthy causes on campus and networking with students on campus, you can follow us on Instagram at SIUC_NSBE. N as in Nancy, S as in Sam, B as in boy, E as in engineering, SIUC_NSBE. And I think that the way that B.E.E.R can really reach out to students is just by RSOs, Society of Women Engineers, Moon Buggy Team. I know there are lots of, I'm not sure what RSOs are in your field, Luke, but there's so many student-led organizations on campus that specifically look for alumni who can come and talk to students or hold live streams like this with their student-led groups. And I think that if you focus a little bit less on admin to do your promotion and just go directly to the students, then that would really help this access. It's all about access, really.
Thank you, Amber. Thank you for that. Luke?
Yeah, I don't know how I could follow that.
Yeah, that's a
wow.
bar's pretty high.
Yeah, I would have to agree. I would have to agree 100% with her on that. Like, just getting like the advocacy out there. Like, I had no idea the scholarship really existed until I started I looked on the general scholarship page last year in 2020, and basically I just saw it and I was like, all right, I'm gonna apply for this. And then I started doing some more digging, and then you don't really hear about all these scholarships around campus. Like, you just kind of hear teachers talking about them, like, you should get scholarships, but nobody ever, you never see posters for it. I always look at the boards. I don't know if anybody else does. But just having posters, having everything, just having mentors and having that alumni base. Like I contract climb for 2 guys who are actually alumni, and it's very fun to like, work with those 2 gentlemen and how they talk about like, their time at SIU. And, it's good to like see that like, they're operating a successful business now. And basically it's like, having that like connections and whatnot. So
It's you both are so articulate, and we're getting a lot of love for both of you as you've been talking. Brittany, a lot of good comments have been flashing across.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll bring those back up. First of all, Vicky says people are amazed when I tell them about this group. We have Michaela Clay, and I'm sorry if I mispronounce anything, says great idea, Amber. Jennifer Wilkins says great advice, Amber. She also says I'm in the Chicago suburbs. I'll mentor. We love to hear that. Jeff Wilson, he put the link to your RSO in the comments. So if anyone wants to connect with you there, they can check that out. Tim says, Amber, great way to represent your RSO. You are an outstanding Saluki. We absolutely agree. And Rod Henk says, posters. I think this group put up posters a few times around campus. It'd be a great way to connect with and let students know how to contact you as well.
I will say there are 2 members of the group in particular who thought it was their responsibility at homecoming to go around and talk to every single student they saw to inform them directly in person about the scholarship. So I won't say their names, but they know who they are. So
That's very fun. Very good. That's that again, for those of you listening, we appreciate your comments. I know we love to see it. There's been some trash talking about 4 years in a row. I'm not sure who's coming after the 80s group, but there is some trash talking going on. That dynasty could continue, and we do hope it does continue. But we hope you get competition because it's so great what you're doing, Dan. Dan, isn't it wonderful to listen to Luke and Amber and have a conversation with them and just be so proud of our students here at SIU.
It really is great, and I was able to share they wrote thank you letters to the group, and I was able to share them with the group, and people read them, and not only from them but also from the other recipients, and it was just really nice. People felt that connection, so it's like, Amber and Luke, when I first met you just before we started the live stream, I kind of knew who you were. I mean, only from a page and a half, but at least I had a background, and so yeah, people want to support you, and it's really nice to see what you guys are doing. And also, we're going to follow you to see what will you end up doing, because I think we expect good things from you. I think reasonably so, because we're pretty impressed with what you've done already.
Yeah, Amber, you mentioned a number of things, in your very articulate talk there a few minutes ago, and just writing a note of thanks. What a great life skill, just to be grateful, appreciative, and take the time to do that. That is just a simple thing, but it goes a long way. Dan, I bet you when you got those letters, you probably got goosebumps and felt really, it was just a wonderful thing to see that Luke and Amber were so thoughtful and grateful and responded with thank you.
Yeah, it was a nice feeling. Absolutely.
It's just really cool. Amber, I'm sorry. Did you want to say something there?
Oh no, I'm sorry. I saw my laptop wasn't plugged in. I was doing my
okay.
Sorry.
John, let's talk then quickly about your plans. Brittany, I don't know if I may have jumped in on you there. Sorry.
Oh no, you're good. We have a couple of comments, but I can save them if you want me to, or go ahead and bring them up.
No, let's do it. We're loving this. We're loving this live stream.
Tim, he was referencing the competition, and he says, bring it. I don't think he's intimidated. Sarah Novak says, Amber and Luke are amazing. I am so happy they have benefited from the scholarship. I would be happy to mentor in Chicago. Yes, the actual city. And I would be happy to come down to Carbondale to speak with the students. Rod Hink asks, what is the timeline to apply for the B.E.E.R scholarship? Do we know off the top of our heads, or we could probably follow up with him with that information afterwards? then we have someone saying we need to take back, I think this is Carrie, we need to take back Southern Illinois event. So, definitely having something here in Southern Illinois. Shannon Woodworth says, I wanted to stop by and say I'm so blown away by the outstanding job you guys did in Chicago at the Chicago Takeover Tour, which was such a fun time. And then we hear there's so many alums still here in Southern Illinois. I grew up in Chicago and never went back. So that is true. We do have a lot of Salukis still in this area.
Brittany, it was mentioned we did the Saluki Takeover Tour Chicago in October, where we spent 4 days literally bringing many from the university, bringing to Chicago, putting the flag, the Saluki flag in the ground and saying, Windy City, this is Saluki territory. We had an unbelievable 4 days. Next week, we're going to St. Louis, a similar format. We're going to bring that Saluki flag up there, put it in the ground in the gateway city or whatever it's called up in St. Louis. And, we have 30,000 alumni. And then, I love the Takeover Southern Illinois. And I forget who mentioned it. We have thousands of alumni in this area. And we'd love to get your ideas on the best way to do that. If you, share those, we think, this is going to be part of a takeover tour. We're going to go into a lot of cities each and every year, and just remind everybody that Salukis are everywhere. And what did Ogenkirk say, Brittany, in his commencement speech? What did he?
Oh, Bob.
Yeah.
I'm a Saluki and I will destroy you.
Yes. Dan, that's great.
That was great. That was great. Brittany, it looks like you might have a couple more coming across.
Yes, we have. So Jeff, he followed up and said the most recent deadline has passed, but you can keep track here with that scholarship opportunity. Casey says, so excited for the St. Louis Takeover Tour. And we have Take the Strip event is what we're seeing come through.
Now, rumor has it, Luke and Amber, when the 80s group got their first trophy, there was a celebration here in Carbondale. And rumor has it the trophy was going from establishment to establishment with a libation or two involved, much like the Stanley Cup is moved around. Dan, is that true?
It is true. Yeah, it was fun. We probably had, I don't know, maybe 50 or so people show up. They had like this event to award us the scholarship, and we had people coming in and like Sarah, who was posting here. That was the first time I'd ever met her. We were kind of here over the same time, but there's so many people you didn't know, and there's a lot of people who met at that event, and we're now pretty good friends. But yeah, we took the trophy out to a number of places, and we had a good time with the trophy. And kept it safe. Very safe, but yeah, we had fun with it.
So Amber, what's in the future for you?
Oh, well, right now, after graduation, I'm currently committed to a job opportunity with Ford Motor. I'm still filtering through offers and seeing what else is out there, but thankful to NSB and the network, they put me in the right directions and placed me in front of the right people. To have that opportunity. Right now, my main focus is just making sure that my RSO has enough funding to go to the NSB National Convention in Anaheim, California. So we're still working towards that goal and just enjoying my summer until I have to start working in July. So yeah, that's what's in store for me right now.
Jennifer wrote in job offer already. Amazing.
Yes.
That is
congratulations.
Great. That is congratulations on that.
Amber, will you be in Michigan?
So I would have to go to Michigan, but right now
you don't have to say I have to go to. I live in Michigan. I'm in Michigan now. It's actually better than you think. No, so
I would have to be nice.
I may be because I believe the plant is in Dearborn, so I may be in Dearborn.
Yep.
So, yeah, I may be in Dearborn or somewhere in the area, whatever area is the best area. I don't know. I'm from Chicago, so
Dan says there's a good. Oh, Dan, go ahead.
All right, hopefully we can meet up in person sometime up here. There's a group of people from that group that are up here, so I'm sure they'd love to meet in person.
Yeah.
You know, if and when you get situated up here, it'd be fun.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely. Thank God for alumni. Thank God for alumni, because I just can't be by myself. Thank
Good
you.
stuff. And okay, Luca, what about you?
So my plan after graduation, thing is like, so I'm an arborist by trade, so I'm a tree climber. So I've worked in arboriculture for 3 years now, and then I started my career with Minnesota Department of Natural Resources, and then I jumped to like DuPage County Forest Preserves, and then I got into arboriculture, and I just absolutely fell in love with urban forestry. So basically, I'm kind of looking forward towards like keeping with my production climbing, and keeping with like either being like a crane climber, and working my way up into like maybe a municipality, or working for like the Morton Arboretum, or like I saw that University of Wisconsin-Madison was hiring a full-time arborist. So either being like a campus arborist or a production arborist, basically just working around trees in the urban environment. And it's I work down here and I sell work. I climb trees. I do everything with a guy that I work with down here. So basically just trying to, you know, I'm all over the place with work. So
good. Pretty exciting. And Luke, I'm sure you've been out to Touch of Nature.
I actually work out there as well.
Yeah. Isn't that amazing out there? 3,000 acres.
Oh, what a fantastic place.
It's going to, Luke, as you know, that is going to be the nation's premier outdoor education center within the next few years. What the plans out there, it's going to bring 125,000 people to this area. So it's just a beautiful thing out there, isn't it?
Oh yeah, it's fantastic to be a part of, like getting to like build some of the stuff out there and like, you know, get to work on the grounds. Just a fantastic opportunity, and then especially the networking too, with working with everyone. Like I work with some of my professors sometimes out there, and I'm still getting paid, so I don't have to volunteer. But you know, got to pay the bill somehow.
That's right. No, that's right. The Brittany, it looks like you got a few more in.
I do, and then we'll have to wrap this up because I know we have students who are going to class right after this. So Michaela Clay, she says, please put me in touch with Amber. I am interested in learning more about the fundraising needs and timeline for the conference in Anaheim, California alumna here, and maybe we can help. So Amber, are you okay with me giving her your email address and connecting you two?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Okay, awesome.
If Michaela's on Instagram as well, on our Instagram, right on our SIUC_NSBE, we have a small link tree, which is a link right there in our bio. Okay. If she clicks it, she can press the $ icon, which will take her right to our PayPal. So if she wants to donate straight to the chapter, it goes to our PayPal. Only our treasurer has access to it, so she doesn't have to worry about us buying pizza or anything with it. So.
Perfect.
I know, Michaela, she might be thinking even something maybe bigger than that, maybe to help you out in other ways. She actually works with organizations quite a bit. So I would reach out to her personally. She's a really good contact.
Awesome.
Nice. Okay.
We'll make sure that happens. Jennifer Wilkins says, I live right by the Morton Arboretum. Connect with me on LinkedIn so we can connect when you come this way, Luke. So make sure you connect with Jennifer Wilkins. She says, I'd like to connect with both students. LinkedIn is easy. So if you two are in the Carbondale in the 80s or 90s group, find this video in the group, and you can see all the comments and respond to people directly if you want. We'll also make sure, especially with Michaela, that Amber will get her your contact information. But that looks like all of the comments up to now. And I know we have students that have to go on to other things. So Matt, I'm going to go ahead and close the Q&A portion of this.
Okay. Thank you, Brittany. That was fun. Wasn't it, Dan, Amber, and Luke, getting comments from folks out there? And appreciate everybody out there for what you do for B.E.E.R, what you do for SIU, what you do for our students here. A reminder, SIU Day of Giving is next Wednesday, March 2nd. Starts at 6 a.m. and runs all the way through 6. So those, Dan said, the B.E.E.R group, a libation or two in hand, can continue to make donations online. And there is that website is siuday.siu.edu /B.E.E.R. So this has been fun. Dan, thank you so much for what you do and have done, continue to do. It's fun making this an annual event when we have this live stream, and just some closing thoughts, Dan.
Yeah, I just want to say I'm just representing the entire group, and we enjoy it, and I think we'll have a nice showing again this year. I really think we want to help the students, and I'm just looking forward to it. And again, for the people who are interested, we'll set up that Zoom watch party that evening. So really looking forward to this year again.
Awesome. Amber, some final thoughts? I know you got to get to class.
Well, my lab was canceled today, thank God. But
Let's stay on longer.
I just wanted to say thank you, Dan. Thank you, Brittany. Thank you, Matt, for making this opportunity, possible for Luke and I. And I can't wait to be on the other side of this scholarship, donating to other students in my shoes in the future.
Thank you, Luke.
Yes, thank you so much. It's helped me out a lot, especially with trying to pay for school debt free, and just taking a little bit of stress off of my life. So
good stuff. Hey, Luke, Dan, I know you joined with me. Having Luke and Amber on today was outstanding and added so much to the conversation. You two are spectacular. God, we could listen to you all day. We're proud of you. We look forward to following you, but you represent all is good about SIU. Keep that Salukis spirit strong forever. We'll be following you. And thanks to everybody for joining us today. Brittany, thank you for putting this together. Let's go, B.E.E.R. Let's keep, next week, let's get those gifts coming. Again, we've got a 6-pack going on, but Dan's talking about that, whatever, tall ones or 12 packs. I'm talking about kegs. At the end of the day, we're changing the lives of people like Amber and Luke. So appreciate everybody. You're awesome. I always end with an African proverb I love. You want to go fast, go alone. You want to go far, we must go together. And this is an example of the B.E.E.R group of going together and going far together. So thanks, everybody. Appreciate all you do. And we'll see you next week on the live stream for Day of Giving.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.